So in this video, I'm going to help you scale your Facebook ads up to and above that milestone number of £1,000 per day or $1,000 per day. Running Facebook ads in the beginning, in those testing stages, that's always your first step, is to run the test, which is basically where you put your ads out to lots of different audiences with lots of different creatives, see what comes back, where the purchases come from. And then the hardest point, or the sticking point, a lot of people kind of get stuck at and find it difficult to overcome, I do sometimes even now, is building upon that. So when you kind of seeing those sales trickle in but they're really inconsistent, then building on that and taking it from say 50, £100 per day all the way up to a consistent flow of customers and sales up to and above £1,000 per day. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. I've got 3 awesome tips which I truly believe can help you get to that point and really help you get your business off the ground, taking fully advantage of this period in which we're coming into at the weekend, which is of course Q4. Before we jump into this then, just a little bit of proof so you can see that I do know what I'm talking about and I have actually achieved this milestone myself. So on screen now is the store in which I started in September. You can see yesterday we did a little bit over $1,500. So I am based in the UK, however I am dropshipping to the US. I have a couple of different businesses which go to different countries. Perhaps I could do a video about that, in fact, some point in the future. And then if I just show you this one as well, you can see that we are indeed consistently hitting that benchmark. So it's not just kind of like a one-day wonder. We are able to do that day in, day out. With that being said then, let's take a look at tip number 1, which is going to be focusing on your breakdowns. So essentially what the breakdowns do is they allow you to see exactly where the data, or where the interest I should say, is coming from within a particular ad set. Super important if you want to take your ad account to that next level. Super important if you want to scale your campaigns up profitably. So let's jump into the computer, take a look at this particular ad set I've got highlighted here, and we can see that different age breakdowns, or age ranges I should say, on the left hand side. So 13 to 17, 18 to 24, so on and so forth. So the reason why this is super valuable if you want to scale your ad account is because Facebook's whole performance, the whole algorithm is based on how well people react to your ad set. So it's kind of like a vicious circle in a sense that a well-performing ad set will perform even better, where a poor-performing ad set will perform even badly. So basically, when you're running an ad set, Facebook will judge your ad set based on 3 different things. If you want more information, or I could do a video on it, it's called total value. Basically, Facebook takes into account 3 different things and it makes a judgment on how good your ad set is, or how well suited it is for your audience, how well interested they're in the actual creative, how much they engage, how many people click on it, so on and so forth. So the reason why breakdowns are super important is because it avoids you spending money on those demographics which aren't interested in your ad and therefore will hinder the performance of them. So for example, if we take a look at this particular ad set, we've got the amount spent here, which is important because this will tell us what age ranges Facebook has spent X amount on. So we can see 13 to 17 is spent 4 cents, 25 to 34 is spent $250, and then 65 plus is spent $1,300. Now the reason why this is interesting and why I've picked this as an example, because this is actually an adjustment I need to make to this particular ad set myself. To judge where the most interest is coming from, we need to look at percentages. So we don't just want to look at link clicks, because obviously the more money you spend somewhere, the more clicks it's going to get. We need to look at how cheaply those clicks are getting, because then it's how cost effective is that particular age range. So the 2 kind of most important pieces of information which I'm looking at in an ad set is always cost per link click, because that's how much has been spent divided by the amount of clicks. So it's basically how cost effective it is to achieve clicks in that age range. And then the next important piece of information is the link click-through rate, which is another percentage, because then it gives you a better understanding of how interested that audience is in your ad set. And basically the higher the number, the better. And the reason why I picked this ad set and I wanted to show you, because there is an adjustment which I need to make personally to this ad set. So as it currently stands, Facebook is spending money on all of these age ranges up to kind of 54. But what we can see is as the audience gets older, more money is being spent, but also the results become more efficient and they get cheaper. So the clicks are getting cheaper. We can see 88 cents, higher age range 86 cents, and then even higher age range 71 cents. The same is true for the link click-through rate as well. So 1.36%, 1.69%, and 2.37%. So taking all of these numbers into account, then the age demographic of 65 plus is definitely the most cost effective, because I'm getting the cheapest clicks from there, and I'm also having a more highly interested audience, because there's a higher percentage of people who are seeing the ad from this age demographic and actually clicking through. So what I need to do to make this ad set even more profitable and even more cost effective is I need to change the age ranges. Now, everybody's kind of ballpark figures is going to be different, because it's going to depend on things like what kind of niche you're targeting, how much profit margin you have in your product, but a rough kind of ballpark to aim for is with a link click-through rate of kind of like 1.5% and above, and then a cost per link click of, to be honest, I usually work on anything better than £1 is pretty good. So these kind of 4 oldest age ranges are pretty good, but there is kind of like a dramatic jump up from the 45 to 54 age range. So what I would do in this instance is I would remove anybody younger than this and just focus on 45 plus. And so how this can help you is, if you start to spend your budget in the most profitable places, your ad will become more efficient, they'll become more profitable, and in turn that will translate into more sales. Tip number 2 is to use automated rules inside your Facebook ad account. Not a lot of people know these exist, but if you're living a busy lifestyle and you don't have time to look at your ad account every single day for an hour or so, especially in the beginning, because it's really important to spend as much time as possible to try and get your head around the numbers and understand what they mean, then this is where rules can become really valuable. So basically what a rule is you can set certain criteria, tell Facebook when to apply this to an ad set and how to apply it to an ad set. So on screen now is an example of a particular rule. I'll take you through this and what it means, and then I'll show you a quick example of how to set it up inside your ad account. So from top to bottom, this is a rule that's going to apply to all active ad sets. The action is to increase the daily budget by 20%. That's not a random number. So you may have seen what's called a learning phase for some of your ad sets, and basically it's Facebook is learning who your ideal person is to target within the audience parameters that you've set. And if you make any significant changes to an ad set, then what it can do is reset that learning phase. And what I've found that anywhere sort of up to 20% doesn't knock it out of that learning phase, and therefore doesn't affect the optimization of it. So as a rough rule of thumb, I wouldn't go any higher than 20% each time. The maximum daily budget cap, so that's basically it will keep increasing the budget of that ad set up to $6,000. The action frequency is once weekly, and it will apply this rule if an ad set meets all of the following criteria. So this is lifetime impressions of over 8,000. This is important because once an ad set has hit that many people, then it's going to be pretty bedded in, it's going to be pretty settled in, and you're going to have a pretty good idea of the potential of that ad set. An ad set that's only reached, say, 100 people is not a good test to run. Basically, it's not enough people to gather enough information to understand whether you've got a good creative going to the right audience or not. Purchases need to be over 0. Again, until you've got a couple of purchases going through a particular ad set, it's not a good test to run. And the cost per purchase must be under $10. And then that way you can make sure that you're scaling the most profitable ad sets. It doesn't have to be $10 though. This is completely relative to you and your product. If you have enough room for, say, $20, set it for $20. So with that being said, let's take a look at a quick example. So same place inside your ads manager, I'm going to click this rules button here and then click create new rule. Ignore the bottom 2. For this video, we're going to focus on custom rule and then hit next. And then it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. So I'm going to whiz through this pretty quickly. You can set a rule name. So it could be ink budget 20%. Apply rule to one ad set. I've got one ad set selected, so it gives me that option. We could set it to all active ad sets, whatever you prefer. If you want to kind of set a blanket statement, then we'll go for all active ad sets. The action will be to increase the daily budget. There's so many different actions you can set here, but for this video, for scaling, we're going to be focusing on the daily budget. The maximum daily budget cap, I'm going to set it to $1,000, so it won't spend more than $1,000 a day. And we're going to action this once every day. We don't want to be increasing the budget too frequently, or again, it can reset that learning phase. As for the conditions, this is where we can set the criteria of the ad sets we want the rule applying to. So we can hit the plus sign. We can go for cost per result is smaller than $20, and we can add that in. We can also impact ad sets in many different ways. So if we click on actions, we can actually turn ad sets off. So this can be handy for as soon as an ad set becomes unprofitable, we can switch it off. However, I don't like to do this because the results, especially on smaller budgets, if you're spending less than sort of like $100 a day, your results each day can fluctuate quite a lot day to day. So if you do become too kind of trigger happy with switching ad sets on and off, then you don't really give it enough time to see its full potential. So I'd probably just stay away from that for now. In fact, just stick to increasing budgets. Time range is maximum today, yesterday, or last 2 days. So if you hover over the eye, we'll give you a breakdown for all of these things. But as it says there, this is the time range in which it's going to consider the data inside of this criteria. So if you want it to make a judgment of an ad set based on the last kind of 24 hours data, go for yesterday. If you want it for maximum, go for maximum. So basically what this will do is if an ad set's been running for 6 weeks, as soon as that cost per result goes below $20, then it will start to increase that budget. We can do it continuously, daily, or custom, and then we can also set a notification just so we can keep a track on every time a rule has been applied to a particular ad set. As for tip number 3, this is duplicating your successful and profitable ad sets into a CBO campaign. So I'm not going to take you through this one on the computer because it's quite extensive. It's quite a high risk strategy as well. Perhaps I could do it in a separate video if you'd want to see that. So I'm just going to talk you through how it works, the logic behind it, and then if you want to give it a go, feel free to go out there and give it a go, or leave a comment down below and I can do a video demonstrating how it works in real time. So have you ever ran ad sets in the past, duplicated them, and then the performance has been really bad? But then on the flip side, you've duplicated ad sets in the past and performance has been really good. It's really difficult to, there seems to be kind of like no rhyme or reason to which ones will perform well, which ones won't. So instead of say duplicating 5 ad sets at $100 and spending $500 a day and taking that risk of which ones won't perform and which ones will, then what you do is you duplicate them all into a CBO campaign, set the CBO budget at $100, $200, $300, whatever you want to do, and then every 2 days kind of break the results down per each ad set, switch off the ones which aren't profitable, and then basically what this will do is it will leave the profitable ones running, and they'll also get that $500 ad spend spent on the most profitable ones that are actually working. And like I said, this can be quite high risk because it does involve bigger budgets, but if you want to get your ad account up to the bigger numbers, then in my experience this has been by far the best way to do it. You can of course do it with smaller budgets too, so you can start with a CBO campaign which has say $50 daily budget. What I would recommend is doing at least 3 ad sets in the CBO campaign, if not 5 as a minimum, and then that way you just give Facebook enough of a chance to test the audience enough times to find the kind of areas or segments, the ad sets which actually work and the ad sets that don't. And like I said, every couple of days just knock off, switch off those unprofitable ones, and then in the end you'll be left with the most profitable ad sets which are getting the majority of the budget. And it's just a great way to scale an ad account up super quickly and super profitably as well. And so with that being said then guys, there's my top 3 tips for scaling an ad account to up to and above £1,000 or $1,000 per day. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.